Hello there. This is the coding teacher. I'm here to teach you how to code, and we're going to pick up right where we left off, creating this employer relationship manager or customer relationship manager. So what we were going to do this time is we're going to create what's called an Angular service, and a service is basically kind of like a little global construct that Angular has. That once you create it, you can inject it as a dependency to your controllers, and it can actually store global data, and it's the accepted convention to handle any kind of asynchronous functionality. So the way that to create a service is, the same, just like we did, we have our Angular controller, we did Angular application, we did .controller to create a controller. We can do, I believe you can do .service to create a service, but I'm used to, and I've seen it in other places, in many other places, .factory. And then the .factory function is similar to the controller function. The first thing that it takes is the name of the service, and we're going to call it employers service, and then the next thing is the actual function. And the point of these services is kind of to encapsulate all the asynchronous functionality. So inside of here, what we're going to be doing is creating a bunch of functions that are just going to pull data from our CRUD routes. Actually, for now, we're just going to create the get route, and then we're going to return an object that has all those functions. So it's going to be, you're basically going to be able, whenever you call this service, you're going to be able to say employer service dot get all employers, or dot update employer, and pass in an ID, and it's going to handle the communication with the backend for you. Oh, actually, I forgot something here. So I need to enclose this as an array, and I need to inject the dependency of Angular's HTTP. This is like the Angular module that handles HTTP requests. So, and then any module that I inject as a dependency, I have to pass it as a parameter to the function. So let's go here, and we're going to create function get all employers, and we're going to make this $HTTP module is promise based. So all we're going to do here is just return $HTTP dot get, I believe this is how it is, and we're going to send a request to employers API / employers. I believe that's what it was. Let's go double check. Get API employers, yes. And let's actually include the catch right there, .catch. If there's an error, let's go ahead and I just need to log it, so I don't need a multi-line function. There we go. And then our service, like when we call the service, it actually needs to have something that it evaluates to. This function needs to have something that it evaluates to. This function right here that starts here and ends here. So we're going to return an object containing get all employers. So this is like some kind of new ES6 syntax that's called, I think it's also called part of destructuring. So this is just short for this. An object containing a property get all employers whose value is this function get all employers. But if you want to be less verbose, you can do it like this. Now that we created the service, we're ready to inject it as a dependency to this controller. And how we do that is like this: employer service, function scope, and then employer service. Main controller is running, right? And then we can do employer service dot get all employers, and then res. Let's just say for now console log res, and let's see if this is actually going to work or not. So let's refresh the page right here, and there we go. Here's the object that we got back from the server, and res.data contains the array of employers: Marshall M, Homies 2, and Beats by Dre, Status New, Suge Knight. So all the hyper hilarious stuff that we wrote last time is still there in our database. And what we can do now is actually use this data to populate a generic data structure within the scope of the main controller and inject it into the HTML. So we're going to see how that works in just one moment. So for now, what we're going to do is we're going to say scope.employers equals an empty array, right? And remember that this is an asynchronous promise type of thing, right? So this is actually, whenever the controller runs, is going to run all the way before this actually, the then in here actually gets executed. Because get all employers just fires this asynchronous call. That's when it's going to come back whenever it comes back, but while we're waiting, we're finishing up running this whole thing. So that's why I'm initializing this variable here, and I'm actually going to set it inside here. Scope.employers equals rest.data. And so now I should have by the time the request comes back, my scope.employers array should have the data that came back from the server, right? And how am I actually going to use that? I'm going to go back to my index.html, and I'm going to say in my div class in the left right here, I have this structure right here, div class companies, and in this empty div, that's where I'm going to be inserting like a little card for each company. And the way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to say ng, actually I'm gonna, inside here, I'm going to create, just for now, an h1, and it's going to say ng repeat. And this ng repeat is a directive that says that I'm basically going to grab this element right here and repeat it for each specific index in an array, in a collection. So ng repeat employer in employers, and what that's doing is going through this employers variable in my scope, which is this one, right? And when the page first loads, it's going to be empty, so this is going to display nothing. It's just not going to get repeated at all because it's going to be empty. But as soon as the AJAX response comes back, that array is going to have however many elements are in the database, and they're all going to get displayed here. So I'm just going to start by saying, let me go look at what the employer data looks like, .name. So in here, I can just do employer.name. And by using these double curly braces, what I'm saying is I'm signaling to Angular, hey, look, this is going to be some kind of JavaScript variable, so evaluate it as JavaScript. And now let's go ahead and refresh the page right here, and here we go. We got an asynchronously loading list of employers, and if we had more stuff in the database, like however many we have in the database, that's however many are going to come out here. And that's going to be it for this video. Next video, what we're going to do is fix this up so it doesn't look so hideous. And I hope that was informative. Like, hit me up with any questions. I know that was a very hasty explanation, but if you have any a difficult time understanding anything, just let me know. See you guys next time.